All right, everybody. This Sunday is the BAFTA Awards. It's okay. I'm British Academy of Film and Television Arts Awards. There we go. Okay, I was afraid I wouldn't get that, but anyways, they are handed out this Sunday, and especially in recent years, they've been very, very helpful with helping us with Oscar predictions. And they've also hurt us with Oscar predictions, especially in the Best Film category. They've gotten the last 4 years wrong. They went with let me see if I can remember all here. Okay, Boyhood over Birdman. They went Revenant over Spotlight. They went La La Land over Moonlight, which pretty much everybody else did. And they went Three Billboards over Shape of Water. So, yeah, they have been helpful, but at the same time kind of deceiving with especially their best film predictions. But they've gotten a lot of other stuff right, including they went 4 for 4 last year with the acting categories. They got director right. They got one of the screenplays right, as I recall. I think. Yeah, they got. I think they gave it to Call Me by Your Name. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I think they went three billboards for original, so that was wrong. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna start with the start at the bottom here with some of the tech categories and stuff, then work our way up to best film. Okay, so starting with actually the Rising Star Award, I'll just throw this one in for free. Letitia Wright is who I have winning this one. Of course, she's in Black Panther, biggest film of the year, at least domestically. It was also #2 worldwide of the year, and did do very well in the UK box office wise as well. Even though her film didn't do specifically very well here at BAFTA with nominations, that's still something I think. Her name is also known for her television work, including Black Mirror and a couple other shows. So yeah, I think she's probably the clear head winner there. Okay, then we'll go up to visual effects next. I think First Man is the one I have winning here. Black Panther did score its only nomination here at BAFTA for visual effects, so if they really feel like they need to give it the only award it's up for, then there you go. But again, I feel like they'll go with the trying to predict the Oscars. They did that last year with Blade Runner. I believe Interstellar also won here for visual effects in those kind of tighter years there. So yeah, I'm picking First Man. And I do think, though, there will be the potential, again, for some kind of vote splitting there between the two Marvel productions, both Avengers and Black Panther. So that might also give the win to First Man. Okay, sound categories up next. I only have one sound category here. I think it's First Man. The similar argument I have to sound editing at the Oscars is we have the two musical-type films winning here, or nominated here, I should say, Star is Born and Bohemian Rhapsody, but I think they'll kind of split votes, even though I do think Bohemian has... Between those two, Bohemian, I think, has the upper hand because it is BAFTA, after all, and it did better than most films did over here. So, still, I think they'll go First Man there. For original score, this is actually a tighter one. I have Beale Street winning, but I would really look out for A Star Is Born. Of course, we have the name, and I don't know, I think the names are on the ballot for when they hand these in at BAFTA. But the nomination here for original score for BAFTA includes Star Is Born for whatever reason. Of course, they don't have a song category, so it's the only way to nominate somebody like Gaga in a category outside of Best Actress, which they did, but still. And actually, Bradley Cooper's name is also on that ballot for original score. So both he and Gaga on there. It's a chance to give her something. It's a chance to give the film something. Otherwise, I think Star Is Born would probably go for. I think it has 7 nominations here. We'd go for 7 otherwise. But I think it's in second place for sure. But I do pick Beale Street here because I think it's still won. I think it's been around. It's pretty much won at least one thing at every award show except for SAG so far. Of course, it wasn't nominated at PGA, wasn't nominated at DGA. Has a shot to win WGA, but again, we've kind of talked about that in the Oscar videos. So yeah. Okay. All right, we'll move up to makeup and hairstyling next. I think this one will fall in line with Vice. There is a chance. Notice I haven't mentioned The Favorite yet. Well, I mean, it wasn't up for didn't have a score or anything, so it wasn't eligible there. But The Favorite could actually go on a big kind of sweep mentality kind of win here on Sunday. So it's got a shot to pick up makeup and something like film editing too. But because they do have 5 nominees here, only 3 at the Oscars, and The Favorite is nominated here, as is Bohemian Rhapsody. Otherwise, the other 3 are also at the Oscars. But I think Vice, it's just on this trajectory where it's just going to win everything for makeup this year. So yeah, I think that's the way they're going to go. Okay, but speaking of The Favorite, I think both production design and costume design are both going to line up with The Favorite. I just don't see anything else taking it down. So yeah. And this is BAFTA overall. I mean, this will probably be the big spot for it. Okay, film editing is up next. I am going with a big upset here, at least big compared to what the odds are saying. I am going Bohemian Rhapsody on film editing here. It just won recently the Ace Eddie for Best Dramatic Editing. It's up for Best British Film here. It's got 7 nominations overall, Bohemian Rhapsody does, so it has a lot of support here. When you look at it, First Man is also nominated. It's actually the favorite to win, at least according to the odds I'm seeing right here. I have it in 5th, actually. And I have Vice in 4th, Roma in 3rd. I do have the favorite in 2nd. I think the favorite does have a legit shot to win film editing here. But Bohemian, again, we kind of talked about it in the Oscar video. It's, very much, some in-your-face editing in the beginning with the opening sequence of the credits, and then at the end with Live Aid and some of the musical, when they're composing stuff. Yeah, I just feel like they're going to go Bohemian here for film editing. Again, it's a bit of a long shot. It's a bit of a gamble, but I don't know. I might have called this one and gotten it right. Then again, I'll probably get it wrong. But who knows? It feels like it makes sense to me. So, anyways, okay. Cinematography. I think we're all picking Roma here. I don't think anybody else has a shot. So yeah, Roma. Okay, now we'll go to some of the other categories they have here at BAFTA, starting with foreign language film. I think this one will go to Roma. I'm much more confident in Roma here for foreign language than I am Cold War at the Oscars. I think Cold War, it does actually have more nominations here than it does at the Oscars. It also landed an award for, or a nomination, I should say, for its screenplay. But I don't think so. I think they'll like Roma more than that one here. Documentary feature, I am going again with an upset here. I'm going to go with They Shall Not Grow Old. Now, it's Peter Jackson, who's, not always, and I shouldn't even say traditionally, but sometimes when we do see the big names nominated in the documentary category, sometimes they just win just on that. But really, this could be a 5-way race here. I mean, really, all 5 of these docs have a shot. Free Solo is also up here. I think a lot of people are picking that to win the Oscar. If not that, it's RBG, which, RBG is also nominated here. So that has a shot. They might be trying to predict the Oscar there, though. Even though RBG, of course, is an American, subject and everything. And I believe the climber guy in Free Solo is also American, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know. Maybe he is British. I don't know. But if he is British, then maybe that should. I probably got this one wrong. But and then you got Three Identical Strangers, which won at DGA recently for its documentary, and then you got McQueen, which is a doc, but it's also up for Best British Film. So that has some support too. What we have seen though so far in the doc categories this year is PGA went with Won't You Be My Neighbor. DGA went with Three Identical Strangers. And if I have this one right, BAFTA will go with something that's, again, not nominated at the Oscars. It's going to be They Shall Not Grow Old. And I think, again, part of the reason I'm picking it is because it is Peter Jackson. It's name recognition. It's about World War I, which, again, was a much bigger thing for European theater goers, moviegoers and stuff for seeing this film. And also, I believe all of the soldiers depicted in the film are British, I believe. Maybe they get into some American stuff, but I believe all the stuff is British infantrymen in some of the early parts of the war. So that, I think, all pushes it over the edge for it to win. But, and as far as I know, I think it did okay over here in the UK as far as audiences go. I think it screened and it made some money, so, yeah. Okay, so that's where I'm thinking there. But again, this could be one where it's like I would genuinely not be surprised if any one of these 5 win. It's not. I don't think there'll be a technical upset here. I mean, it's really all 5 of these have a shot. Okay, animated feature. I think this one will just line up. It'll be Spider-Man. Yeah, as famously Stan Lee said in one of the films. Enough said. Okay, getting into the screenplay categories next. We'll save best British film toward the end here. That's one to talk about. Okay. Adapted screenplay, I'm going to go ahead and line up with where most of the sentiment right now is for who's going to win the Oscar, and that's with Spike Lee and company for their script on BlacKkKlansman. BlacKkKlansman actually did very well here at BAFTA, much better than I thought it would. It landed 5 nominations, as I recall, including supporting actor, screenplay, director, film, and I think score was the other nomination, right? I think so. Yes, it's also in for score. So yeah, and I thought, well, director probably makes sense, screenplay makes sense. supporting actor would make sense, but I was like, I think it might just pull those three and be done. But no, it also got in for film and for score. So I think that shows, they probably will give it something. Beale Street, though, is one I would look out for. Barry Jenkins has an IOU here actually at BAFTA. He did not win the year of Moonlight. They went with it was a weird year because Moonlight at first was in the original screenplay categories for a lot of races, and then it was technically ruled an adapted screenplay at the Oscars, and then it won adapted, but. The original screenplay, though, race was like La La Land was in there, Manchester by the Sea was in there. At the point Moonlight was in there, it was like, that was a tough race to decipher. Then that one, Moonlight moved out, and then it was just those two, and then Manchester won. But anyways, So I think it's down to those two. But a couple people are calling for Can You Ever Forgive Me, which could be a weird win here in a way. But it's one that makes sense because it is. After all, it does star or co-star Richard E. Grant, who, of course, is a British actor and everything. It's a film. It did get the 3 nominations, including Melissa McCarthy for actress, so it's got a little bit of support, even if it is. That's pretty much the only 3 categories it's been getting into, though, across the board here this year. I feel like it'll probably. I mean, it would make sense if it won because it's like, okay, you've got those components. It is about a writer herself, after all, but I think if we were going to go that direction, it was going to keep winning stuff. I think we would have spotted that earlier on. It would have won. I don't think it was even nominated at Globes. So I think it would, if it had been nominated there and won. Okay, then we know, and then it would have probably won a Critics' Choice as well, and then WGA. And it's I don't know if it can upset win at WGA or not. I wouldn't bet on it, but But anyways, So I feel like it's probably between Klansman and Beale Street, but I would pick Klansman in that fight. Okay, and then for original screenplay, I'm going to go with the favorite here. I think Green Book has a shot here. It does have 4 nominations. One of those nominations is for Best Film, which that's nothing to sneeze at. So even though, it didn't do as well over here as it did at the Oscars or at the Globes or at Critics' Choice, I believe. I think those all had more nominations than Green Book did at BAFTA. I still think it has a shot, and I have, especially since favorite, as we mentioned in the last video, there is not up for WGA. So Green Book, I think has a better chance at WGA to win there. But I think the favorite it's just one I think they'll go for here. Okay, supporting actress. Here we go. This race right here and the winner here I think is 100% going to determine who's going to win at the Oscars. I think most people are picking the same one I am. That's Rachel Weisz to win for the favorite. It's a chance to give the favorite an acting win. I think the favorite will do better here than it has everywhere else. We mentioned that in the last video again, where it's like, okay, it went 1 for 5 at the Globes. It went 2 for 12 at Critics' Choice, 0 for 3 at the at SAG, and then not nominated, not eligible at WGA, did not win PGA, wasn't even nominated for DGA. So it's like, early on expectations I think were high for the favorite, but traditionally it's just not pulled out more than 2 wins, except for the British Independent Film Awards, which I think supports the idea that the favorite will win more stuff at BAFTA than it does anywhere else. The big argument, though, here is, okay, if it's not Rachel, then who is it? Now, Amy Adams is up here. This is her 7th nomination for Vice. And I think Vice overall, though, I think it'll win makeup, but I don't have it winning anywhere else. It's just, one, it didn't get the director nomination, didn't get in for film. I think it's the only place, other than SAG, for the equivalent of the Screen Actors Guild Award Ensemble Prize. Vice did not get in there. BAFTA is the only other place it didn't get in for Best Film. It was up at PGA, nominated at DGA, and actually Adam McKay won a TV award that night, so he technically won something. Of course, the Globe, it was up for Comedy Musical, and of course it's up for Best Picture. So really, this has been the only place where Vice is genuinely disappointed. But here's the thing. It's just, Amy's role in the film is just really confined to that first act, where she does get her big powerhouse scenes, including the part where she kind of reads the riot act to Dick Cheney. And then there's, of course, the part where he kind of becomes sick with the early signs of the heart palpitations and all that. And then she campaigns for him, of course, the now famous line, "We don't burn bras, we wear them." Anyways. But, those scenes are in the first act. But she really disappears after that, though. And I'm sorry, especially when I saw the film the first time, I was like, when I saw the film, I've only seen it once, when she, after that first act, I'm like, okay, yeah, Amy's pretty good in this. And then I'm like, oh, she's not there. And then by the end, I was like, not say I forgot, but I was like, Oh yeah, and Amy Adams. Yeah. It's like wow. It's like really that was the Dick Cheney show starring Dick Cheney. I mean, it was 100%. But so I think that does hurt Amy. Whereas Rachel and her co-star Emma Stone, and that's of course the big argument everybody has is well these two that the reason that neither one of them have won is it's the vote splitting thing, canceling each other out. But here's and we'll get back to Rachel here in a second, but. Clearly Rachel has more screen time than Amy Adams does, more screen time than the other two nominees, Margot Robbie and Claire Foy. And, Emma, I think, you could make the argument that she could have campaigned and lead, but, yeah. That being said, though, what's putting me ahead, though, for Rachel is the overdue factor here. Believe it or not, the year that Rachel won the Oscar for Constant Gardener, she was actually nominated at supporting everywhere except BAFTA, where she was designated as a lead actress, and she lost. Let's see, 05. I'm trying to think. Was that The Queen? No, that wasn't The Queen. Trying to remember who won that year for Best Actress, but whoever it was, yeah, they beat out Rachel. So, so she's actually never won, and she has the Oscar, she has the SAG, she has the Globe, but no BAFTA. So I think this is a way to make up for it, 100%. So yeah, but the big argument here, of course, is for once the show's over for Rachel and for BAFTA in general. Is who wins at the Oscars after this. And because, of course, we've been talking about all year is Sylvester Stallone and Creed a few years ago. The big thing that we all flew off the cliff, myself included, on for picking him was he was not nominated at BAFTA, not nominated at SAG, and we still picked him to win, even after the Critics' Choice win and the Globes win, which is exactly what Rachel has done this year, exact same parallel. Problem was, it was Mark Rylance, who was in a film that was nominated for Best Picture. He won BAFTA, and and that's the thing, is Rachel, she's in a Best Picture nominee, probably is going to win BAFTA, but then again, if they do, here's the thing, for the best thing that would happen, though, for Regina would be if Claire Foy or Margot Robbie wins. Those are 100%, that's okay, so that means just Best Supporting Actress is, it's just going to line up for Regina. At that point, if somebody like Rachel or Amy pulls up out of nowhere, that would be the biggest jaw-dropping win in recent memory. You'd have to go back to somebody like a Marcia Gay Harden winning, which, you get that argument because Marina de Tavera is nominated this year for Roma. She missed out everywhere. All the precursors, and I believe all the critics groups as well. I mean, maybe she was nominated a couple places for, like, Best Cast, if they gave Roma Best Cast, and she would be included on that list. But other than that, she has not seen a lick of anything this year as far as support for her the precursors. That would be the true Marcia Gay Harden if she won for after having nothing. But even then, Marcia Gay Harden had a few critics prizes, which is what Regina has the overwhelming number of critics prizes by her side. So, which Mark Rylance also had his year. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot of different arguments here. But yeah, definitely the best scenario for Regina to win at the Oscars would be if they give it to Margot or for Claire Foy. But yeah, they're way down on the list. I don't think so. So yeah, I'm picking Rachel to win at BAFTA, and then, well, I'll see how I feel about it. If I'm not going to be able to watch BAFTA live because I don't have BBC America, but I'll try to see if I can find a video of her speech. If she gives a really eloquent speech, something that really is one of the biggest parts of the night or something, and then it's like, wow, there's really a lot of big support for her if she gets a big standing O when she wins, which again, yeah, I get it. There is crossover between here and the Oscars for the voting body, but, yeah, there's a lot of voters here at BAFTA that don't vote at the Oscars, so yeah, that would be a different, that's not 100%, but guarantee if she gets a big standing O and it's like everybody throws flowers at her and everything, that doesn't mean she's quit winning the Oscar, but still. Okay, supporting actor, I'm going to go with the sweet mentality here from Mahershala Ali. He also has an IOU factor because he did not win for Moonlight. He won everything else that year except for the Globe and BAFTA, and those seemingly will be the two places this year that he makes up for those, and he also won Critics' Choice and SAG earlier this year. Now, some people are still picking Richard E. Grant here. I don't think so. I mean, he is, after all, he's been a British character actor for 30-plus years. He's in a film that some people like, and this would be, I think, the only win for Green Book. I feel like Green Book, it has the best film nomination. Can You Ever Forgive Me does not. Yeah, I think they'll go Mahershala here. Okay, Best Actress, I'm also going to go with the sweet mentality here for Glenn Close. But, yeah, I get the argument for Olivia Colman to win. This, if Rachel falls aside in the Best Supporting Actress race, and it is somebody like Amy Adams or Claire Foy or something weird like that, then that leaves the favorite as Best Actress as the last place you can put an acting win in for the favorite. But it just feels like Glenn Close has it now. After the SAG win and everything, it's like she's got the Oscar pretty much, we think. Again, unless it's a big upset, but I don't think so. I just think BAFTA is going to fall in line. Yeah. The same way they could have, like last year with Sam Rockwell. I'm not going to. Okay. Actually, yeah, all the 4 acting wins last year, I think, they were all films that either did well at BAFTA or they were British winners themselves, including, Gary Oldman being the big example there. Who was I? Oh, yeah, Emma Stone was the one I was going to pick out. Yeah, they could have gone, at BAFTA, they could have gone that year with, like, Natalie Portman or, a couple other choices there. I think Charlotte Rampling was also nominated that year at BAFTA. But no, they went with Emma Stone. I think that was after the SAG win and after everything else. So it's like, yeah, it just felt like that was the way it was going to go. So, yeah, they fell in line there. Yeah, so I think Glenn Close has it. Best Actor, I'm going to go with the American playing the Brit here for Rami Malek. I get that argument, and and obviously Christian Bale is a British playing an American. Traditionally, they do like that. And also, like a few of the other ones we mentioned here, there's a big IOU factor for Christian Bale, who has gone 0 for 3 thus far at the BAFTAs, and that's including the Year of the Fighter. He did not win for that, famously lost to Jeffrey Rush for King's Speech. So he's got a shot, but like I said, Vice did not do extraordinarily well here. Doesn't feel like it's going to do very well outside of the makeup category here. And Rami just won SAG. And it's the very same trajectory that we saw for 4 years ago, where Michael Keaton won the Globe for comedy, gave a great speech, memorable speech. His was more emotional than Christian Bale's was. Christian Bale's was just freaking hilarious. But and then he won at Critics' Choice for both Best Actor in a Comedy and Best Actor, and gave a couple of speeches there that were very good. And then here comes Eddie Redmayne at SAG, and then from there he couldn't lose. I feel like Rami is very much in that position there. He also, like Eddie, won the Globe for drama, so yeah. And, Bohemian, again, it's a film that did better over here than it did really anywhere else this year. Especially and including Critics' Choice. So they did not care for that film. But anyways, I think it's Rami. But again, I get all the arguments for Christian Bale, but I just feel like, that year I was tempted to still pick Michael Keaton, but I kept Eddie Redmayne out there up front, and I got it right. So I'm gonna stick to my guns on Rami there. Okay, Best Director, I feel like it'll probably be Alfonso Cuarón. Some people are making, going out on a limb and saying Yorgos will win just because they will give the favorite so many wins, but I don't think so. I think it's Cuarón. All right, now let's talk about British film. Okay, this is the most competitive category of the night, I think. And of course, it's one that we're not going to see repeated at the Oscars. This is obviously solely a BAFTA award here. But anyways, I think the favorite is out front right now. But I am going Bohemian Rhapsody here. Now, here's the thing. I actually did not know about this. A true story here. I did not know this until yesterday. As you guys know, I pay attention to Gold Derby all the time. They kind of help me with, okay, who's out front, who's the favorite to win, and who's way behind, and who are the long shots, and all that. I look at some of the stuff like IndieWire posts that. Pete Hammond and a couple of the contributors on Deadline will kind of do that stuff too. So, I look at all that stuff, and it's like, Gold Derby also posts videos, too, though, of from some of their kind of lead editors and all that. And one of them mentioned something. I was not aware of this at all, and that was that on the Best British Film on the ballot that the voters get, they list the producers and the director of the film on the ballot, which means if they win, the director also wins, which, if it's Bohemian Rhapsody, that's no good. That's no bueno for BAFTA. That's the last thing they want to do, especially if Rami wins Best Actor, because then all that anybody's going to want to talk about him afterwards and during the show is, so how does it feel to win on the same night as your director who you famously, you said, made it an emotional and really hard shoot? And yeah, and Rami just did a really big interview earlier this week where he kind of talked about how it was really painful to work with Bryan Singer. yeah, so, and that's, obviously that's something I think that Rami wants to avoid. That's something the film wants to avoid and all that. Now, I mean, as soon as I heard that, I'm like, nope, I'm done. I'm switching over to the favorite. But right before then, because as you guys know, also I'm writing for Cultured Vultures, which is actually based in England. So I'm sure they're very much anticipating because I haven't. It's not up yet, but I've sent in my predictions here. I'm not going to cheat and say, okay, on that side I'm picking this, and then the last minute switch over to something else. No, what I say there lines up here. I always make sure of that. Even if at the last minute I'm like, oh shit, I meant to pick the, it's too late. I don't go back on my word on that. So. Right, I was typing that up, I was getting ready to do it, and then I looked again here, and I happened to look over because I had Wikipedia open, and just to look at the list of nominees again. And I looked at, and there was a little thing here, and it said, on February 6th, which was yesterday, BAFTA announced that they are scratching Bryan Singer's name off of the list. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that totally changes the conversation now. Now, obviously, we might have a James Franco type situation here where it's too late. And voting has already obviously been going on for BAFTA awards. I think the voting is actually closed. We had trouble with this last time for SAG. Let's see. Let me pull up. Yeah, let me see if the BAFTA site has it here. Okay, final voting. Let's see. Nominees party. All films have to be screened. Okay, round 2 voting closed. Yes, on the 6th. So that was actually as the announcement was made about Bryan Singer's. Okay, what's this? Tomorrow, all films have to be screened by the public? Oh, okay, I gotcha. Okay, so that's to qualify. Yeah, they have to have screened by that right before the show actually happened. That's weird. Usually it's, Oscar rules are different and everything, but yeah. Anyway, so, okay, that was a little confusing. Okay, so yeah, so final voting is actually over for BAFTA. So they announced this after, so yeah, they announced it, so that's the question. Did they announce it because Bohemian Rhapsody won and they just want to make sure that that's notified in advance? Or, just to kind of clear the fires out, put the fires out before they happen on Sunday when it wins? Or is it something where it's like they meant to announce it and it just, this was just the soonest they could? That's the question. So again, that was kind of the James Franco thing, where it's like, okay, he had gotten in at SAG, he had gotten in at the Globe and won the Globe for Comedy Actor, he had gotten in for Critics' Choice and everything. And I believe he was also nominated at BAFTA last year too. I might be wrong about that. But anyways, I remember, yeah, he'd been nominated pretty much everywhere, and then. Okay, no, he wasn't nominated at BAFTA for Disaster Artist. No, he was just nominated at the other ones there. And then after the Globe win, then here comes Ali Sheedy with her big big Twitter storm, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, then somebody else comes forward, then somebody else, and then all the accusations came out. So, is it that kind of situation where that, I believe, was what ended up costing Franco his Oscar nomination? Where it just came out late enough in the game to where it's like, okay, the last voters who hadn't already put his name down, nope, they scratched his name out and put Denzel's name in. Is that the situation where it's like, okay, the voters, when they looked at the ballots, are like, Bohemian Rhapsody, okay, best British film. Oh, Bryan Singer's on this? Okay, sorry, I'm not going to do the accent. Okay, but, Bryan Singer's name is on this? Oh, I don't know, okay. I'm gonna go with the favorite. So yeah, that's the big question there. But anyways, yeah. So that's what I'm kind of hung up on now, is if I made the right choice or not. So I went back, and yes, I am predicting Bohemian now after I read that. So I'm taking the gamble on that, just like I gambled on including Franco on that list for the nominations last year for Best Actor. And and I look at it too. We talked about it last year. The last time the Best Film and Best British Film lined up. Before last year, before 3 Billboards, was back in the 60s with, I believe, Dr. Strangelove. That was last time they lined up and they didn't win the Oscar. That's true. But I think, actually, I go back. Yeah, I think the last time they lined up was probably King's Speech then. Oh, yeah, so they've lined up. Yeah, I was going to say that's the last time they lost Best Picture. Okay, sorry. I was on the wrong train of thought there. But yeah, let's see here. Best British Film. I think, yeah, traditionally, yeah, they've actually lined up here quite, yeah, because King's Speech won, that year. Gravity and 12 Years a Slave split that in 2013. Theory of Everything won in 2014. That actually lines up with my theory for Best Actor, too, because Best Actor also won. Eddie Redmayne won that year, too. So that's something else I'm considering there. So yeah, there could be a thing where both Best British Film and Best Film overall line up, and it is the favorite for both of them. But yeah, I'm just not sensing it. I feel like Bohemian is it's not up for film, so they can't vote for it there. It's got Best Actor. I think that we've got that figured out, and I have it winning editing. So I just feel like it's got all these awards, and then also I'm also reminded a few years ago of Skyfall, which was up for a few BAFTAs, including Best British Film, which it won, and it was also up for a couple. It won original score. So traditionally, the film that wins Best British Film is one they like to give multiple awards. Which we've already talked about the favorite enough. I just feel like Bohemian has this one. At least that's my opinion on it. I do hear a couple arguments, though, for Stan and Ollie to win this one, too, though. It's Steve Coogan who got nominated for Best Actor. He was kind of a surprise there. It's also up for Makeup, and I think it got a couple other noms, like, I think, is it like Costumes or something like that? But yeah, I think it got a few other nominations there. I thought I saw it. No, it's not up for Costumes. Okay, it's not in the screenplay race. So yeah, I think it was, Steve Coogan I know got in, so yeah. And it is, like I said, it's the British actor there, and I think it's a film that did better, actually, box office-wise, over in the UK than it did in the US. So that's, maybe if it really starts to split, then we will see something like Stan and Ollie win. But I don't think so. Okay. And then for Best Film, I am, I think I've given it away now. It's the favorite, yeah. Like I said, I do think, I said this in the Oscar video. Roma, I think, does have a shot because I look at the two examples I keep quoting all year long, coincidentally, have been The 400 Blows and Bicycle Thieves, both of which were are kind of some of the more famous films. I think they're both on the IMDb list of top 250 films, even though they're old and they're foreign, which traditionally those types of films don't land on those lists. But still, it's like it's really slice of life, kind of slower paced film. Realistic shooting style, realistic non-actors in there. So, coincidentally, both of those films did well at BAFTA. Bicycle Thieves actually won Best Film of Any Source back in the early 50s, and 400 Blows, when it got to BAFTA, qualified in the late, early 60s, I think it was 61, it was nominated for Best Film from any source. So, there you go. It's there is some even though it's older those are some support for those kind of slice of life films, and also both of those were in black and white, which Roma is, and I think Roma also has I forget, is it 6 or 7 noms here? Let's see, picture, director, screenplay, cinematography, foreign. I think it's up for editing here too. Let's see, and it's in for production design. See, it's not in the sound category. Let's see, it made it into editing. So I think that's 6 there, 6 or 7, whichever. But it did well here at BAFTA. And if it wins director and it wins foreign language, and cinematography, 4 wins including film, And as we mentioned too in the other video there, I think if it does win Best Film here at BAFTA, I feel like the Oscar race is over at that point. Then it's just going to line up with Roma. But I think that's something to look out for here. And it's also another thing that'll help Roma, and I've been thinking about this too, is I go back to a couple examples here. Now, one example that hurts it is actually 3 years ago when the major 3 guilds, that's the SAG, SAG, DGA, and PGA, all split, which they did this year. They went with the winner that year that won at the Oscars was the SAG winner, but of course that was Spotlight, and I'm not ready to put my money on Black Panther to win Best Picture. No, I don't think so. Just does, as we saw from the nominations, doesn't have the support. The last time they split before that was back, if I remember right, 2001, where PGA went to Beautiful Mind, DGA went to Crouching Tiger, Hidden. No. I'm trying to think. Was it Gladiator? Yeah, you're Gladiator then. Yeah, because Gladiator won PGA, DGA went with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Ang Lee, and SAG went with, was it Gosford's Park? I think it was Gosford. It was either Gosford Park or something like that. who else was out that year? I think it was something like that. Yeah, all three of them split. It was either 2000 or 2001 with those, and it was actually Gladiator won PGA, that won at the Oscars. But the main point I was going to make here, though, was going back to it, was the year of The Departed, which won at Critics' Choice, which Roma did, and then it lost the Globe to Babel. It lost Screen Actors Guild to what was it called? Alan Arkin movie that year. They're in the van, in the van down by the river. Little Miss Sunshine, which also won PGA, and actually, yeah, and then DGA, I believe, also went to Marty Scorsese for The Departed, if I'm remembering all my facts correctly here. Now, I'm pretty sure Critics' Choice lined up for The Departed that year, I think. I'm going to double check that right now before I say that and get it wrong. Wherever it is. And then, yeah, Scorsese also won for director that year. But, yeah, The Departed did win. Okay. And then Departed also, like we have lined up for Roma right now, it lost BAFTA. And I think, actually, was it even, I forgot who it lost to at BAFTA. Let's see, Best Film. Let's see, who won that? The Queen won that year, that's right. And guess what? The Queen is exactly like The Favorite, where it's, obviously British subject matter, about royalty, and it's very much so fits into that mold. So there you go. I think it's The Favorite, which then I just don't know if The Favorite's going to have enough in its wings there to win at the Oscars. And I think the worst case scenario for The Favorite at the Oscars is going back to them for a second is it goes 0 for 10, because if the costume design and production design both go with Black Panther, which won a Critics' Choice for those two categories. If it loses those 3 acting bids, which pretty much it's going to guaranteed lose 2 of them, and maybe Rachel pulls out supporting actress, if she doesn't and it goes to Regina King, then that one's done. Then the other ones, it's not going to win director, it's not going to win picture, I don't think. If original screenplay goes with Green Book, then that one's done for original screenplay. And the other 2, film editing, I don't think it could win. And what's the other one? Cinematography, which cinematography, we know that one's not going to win. So, The Favorite could do really well here at BAFTA and then turn around and go 0 for 10 at the Oscars. It could. But no, I don't think so. But anyways, I just don't know if it can win at the Oscars. I only have it winning 2 right now. I think the most it can win is probably 4. But I don't know. I just don't know if it's going to win Best Picture. I don't think so. Okay. But for Best Film here at BAFTA, though, I do have The Favorite pegged to win that one. All right. Well, I think that's all I got for BAFTA here. We'll come back on Sunday after the awards are all over, and I'll kind of talk about who won and who didn't win, and where we go from here. So, thanks for tuning in, and good luck to everybody who's also predicting a BAFTA. And we will see you later on this weekend.